I'm Karin. Welcome to my world. I am talking about other lives and regression, which means going back, going into other lives and re experiencing them in some part, both as past life regression, as it's called, and also the way I work with it now. Some more examples of what I have experienced. Early on, I needed someone to talk me into a trance to access the other lives that I have led on this planet. It can be a past life therapist. These sessions take up to 3 hours, so they're pretty lengthy. They're very profound, usually. You do have to sort of trust it. If you question everything, every expression you get, you're not gonna go very far. It's like, okay, go take the ride. Go for a ride. Take it for what it is. Consider it a movie, whatever. You can analyze it later. But as you're in the experience, just go with it. Just trust it. Then you can think about it afterwards. That's my experience. Because if you want to question everything, you're pretty much wasting your money, and you might as well not go. So if you go to a regression therapist, I would recommend not doing it to prove anything. I would recommend going for the experience, taking the ride, paying the money, and then see what happens. The first one I had was sort of unraveled over several weeks after I'd had the session. I kept coming up with, oh, wait a minute, well, that's why. There's a connection there. So I've had a lot of use out of past life regressions and the healing work in that. I trained as a past life regression therapist as well, so I've done work on other people. I don't today, but I did, and it was hugely interesting. If you do not feel like taking a past life regression for monetary reasons, or there's no one near you, you really need to feel you can trust that person too. You need to feel comfortable with that person. So if it's not for you, but you're still curious, there are a lot of guided meditations out there, and some of them will also guide you to other lives. You can find books that have CDs included, where you will be guided to other lives. There's a ton of material. Do use your gut feeling. I wouldn't say it was dangerous, but if you do go in a trance, you need to use discernment in terms of whom you decide to listen to. So if you feel attracted to something, that's a good sign. If you feel like, okay, I don't think this is for me, stay away from it. Don't do it just because you want to prove that you were wrong. So one of the weird things I tried was one of these guided CDs that I put on, and the thing was just pick a life. Okay, I picked a life. 16 something, England. Where are you? I'm on my deathbed. So what's the most important thing in your life? And that, from questions that were recorded, which of course is not the same as being personally asked, but from questions that were recorded in this guided meditation, I was a woman a peasant who had worked incredibly hard my whole life, had an awful lot of kids, and when the recorded voice asked what was the biggest success of this life, my spontaneous answer was that I survived. And that it was over and done with. It was not a spectacular one. There was not a lot of learning in that one. There was not a lot of healing to do other than just a ton of hard work. And I mean, that's always useful to experience that side of things. To compare with something different, I had an example, now I just suddenly forgot. I am completely blank. Okay, so I have to shift because I don't remember right now. That's something that happens a lot. I can remember really advanced stuff and I forget to buy milk. Or I'll go into the bathroom and I forgot why I went there. And I'm sure I'll come up with this, but I don't want to stop the recording at this point, so I'll share something else. One one of the things I use it for, this past life regression thing, this other life accessing, is to find out about my relationship to other people. If someone is somewhere in my life and it keeps bugging me, we keep getting into conflict, there's something there. I can ask myself, how do I know this person? Where do I know this soul from? What do I have that's not settled? And again, what I will get is an image. And it can be priestesses that have been rivals and still bicker in this life, and I'm able to heal that, to cut the thread to that life, and I no longer saw the person. It can be one of the priests who burned me at the stake. That happened more than once. And there's still some animosity over that. I can heal that. I can cut the thread to that. And sometimes it's just plain old curiosity. This person feels so familiar. Why is it? Why is this person familiar to me? I want to know. And then I get these images and I unravel them. And I remember my example. I love Scotland. And at some point, I asked myself, have I had lives here? And the answer is several. And I asked to see one of them. And that was a more profound one than me just dying after too many children and working too hard. In this life, I was a woman. I've been a woman 80% of my life. How do I know that? Because I ask, how many lives have I been a woman? And it says 80%. Okay, I'll take that. So I was a woman, and it was during some of the troubles the Scots had with the British, and they were going to go and fight. It could have been Bonnie Prince Charles. I'm not entirely sure, but that's my feeling. And I wanted to fight because we should have independence. We should have liberty. We should fight and we should kill these English dogs. And I wanted to go and fight and I couldn't because I was a woman. And it was so frustrating to me. So what I did was I persuaded all the young men around me and some of the older ones too in the community I was in. I kept trying to persuade them they needed to go to war because we needed to do this, we needed to win, and we needed to beat the English. And I really used all my persuasive powers, and they were quite powerful. So I got all the men in the village all revved up and ready to go, and they went into war, and every single one of them died. None came back. And that was my responsibility because I had persuaded them to go to war. This life plays into even what I'm living today, because to this day I have a huge reluctance towards trying to persuade anyone to do anything that they don't immediately want to do. Most of the time I probably could, but I swear I don't even want to lean on a lamppost. Using my powers in a way that got everyone killed really is in me still to this day. I haven't entirely healed it yet. I feel maybe I'm not ready. I'm just too scared of what I will do if I remove this block. I don't actually think I'll do anything bad, but this spooked me so much that I am still very reluctant to use my powers of persuasion, manipulation, to make other people do the way I feel they should do. And that's still in me to this day. So the feeling powerless because I couldn't go to war had me manipulate other people to doing it for me and get them killed. we're all just playing roles. This is a role-playing game. Life is a role-playing game. It's all just a game. But we get so immersed in this experience that it really stays with us through other lives. Some of our personality comes from our parents, our environment, our culture, but a fairly big part of it also comes from experience from other lives. Just like we pick up experience in the life we're living, we bring with us experience from other lives. And they do shape what we're experiencing now and what we're living. So if there are things that you would wish differently, looking at other lives and looking at healing some of them is absolutely an option. It's certainly one that I've used a lot. So I may be back with more stories. We'll see. Thank you for now.